Years had passed since God fulfilled his promise to Abraham and gave him his son, Isaac. Isaac had grown into a strong and faithful man. Abraham was now very old, and he knew the covenant God made with him would continue through Isaac. Wanting the best for his son, Abraham called his most trusted servant and said, "Go back to my homeland and find a wife for Isaac from among my people." The servant obeyed immediately. He took 10 camels and many valuable gifts and traveled far across the desert. After many days, he arrived at the city of Nar. As evening came, he stopped at a well outside the city. There, he prayed to God, asking for wisdom. "Lord, let the woman you have chosen offer me water and also offer to water my camels." Before he had even finished praying, a young woman named Rebekah came to the well carrying her water jar. She was graceful, kind, and full of energy. The servant watched carefully, remembering the prayer he had just spoken to God. The servant asked Rebekah, "Please give me a little water to drink." Without hesitation, she lowered her jar and gave him water. Then she said, "I will also draw water for your camels until they have finished drinking." She worked quickly and kindly, giving water to all 10 camels. The servant was amazed. God had answered his prayer exactly. The servant gave Rebekah gifts of gold and asked about her family. When he learned she was related to Abraham, he bowed and thanked God. Rebekah brought him home, where her family welcomed him warmly. There, the servant told them everything about Abraham, Isaac, and the promise of God. Rebekah's family listened carefully and understood that God had guided this journey. They asked Rebekah if she was willing to leave her home and go with the servant to marry Isaac. With courage and faith, Rebekah answered, "I will go." Her family blessed her as she prepared for the journey. The next morning, Rebekah left her home and set out with the servant. Together they crossed the vast desert under the burning sun and cool night skies. Though the road was long and uncertain, Rebekah trusted that God was leading her to his plan. Back in Abraham's land, Isaac walked alone in the fields one evening. He prayed quietly, thinking about God's promises and the future ahead. The sun was setting, painting the sky with golden light, when he looked up and saw camels approaching from the distance. Rebekah saw Isaac walking in the field and asked the servant, "Who is that man?" The servant smiled and said, "That is my master." Rebekah quickly covered herself with her veil. Isaac approached, and the servant told him the whole story, how God had guided every step of the journey. Isaac welcomed Rebekah into his home, and she became his wife. He loved her deeply, and she brought comfort to his heart after the loss of his mother, Sarah. Through Isaac and Rebekah, God's promise to Abraham continued. Their story became a reminder that God guides his people, answers prayers, and fulfills his plans in perfect time. God blessed Isaac and Rebekah with 2 sons, Esau and Jacob. The story of Isaac and Rebekah shows how God guides his people with wisdom, love, and perfect timing. Through their faith, God's promise to Abraham continued.